Growth by sales alone in the tent rental industry frequently tends to hide multiple sins. The primary goal should be to improve bottom line and performance. And what better way to achieve great profits than to improve operating efficiencies? As you watch this video, think about your own operations and see if any of the scenarios look familiar. If they do, keep watching. The primary focus here is on finding practical, specific, innovative solutions that will greatly improve overall efficiency, ultimately leading to improved profitability for your business. Have you ever really watched your workers load the trucks before a job? What's the process really like for them? Are your warehouse supplies organized and easy to get to? Are your stakes stored so that you can easily handle them? How much time does it take to count and transfer the stakes to the truck? Once your supplies are on the truck, how practical are their locations within the truck? What's the cost associated with a truck that is not loaded properly and items are forgotten? Experience tells us that operations for many businesses could be greatly improved with greater organization and planning. Gathering supplies and loading them onto the truck should be an organized, efficient, easily repeatable process. The thinking part of this process should be done by you and your managers well beforehand, establishing an effective, repeatable routine that anyone can follow. Start in the office. Provide those who load the trucks with a detailed punch list of those items that are to be loaded. In the warehouse, supplies should be easy to find and well identified, with the most commonly used components on the bottom shelves closest to the trucks. Stakes should be preloaded into bins designed to hold a predetermined amount of stakes so that the workers know exactly how many to take and won't have to waste time counting. Using stake bins also eliminates the fatigue of handling and moving heavy stakes. When loading supplies, make sure that there are logical locations so that the things that are needed first on the job site are on the back part of the truck, and workers don't have to rifle through the entire truck to get to what they need to begin. Tip: when loading tents and all other necessary components, make sure to have extras of the most common parts. Make a list of those supplies for everyone to see and check the supply daily. Tip: consider posting a permanent sign where the trucks are loaded that lists all items typically needed for a job, a reminder sign. Loading mistakes will happen, even with the best planned methods, but having a practiced plan in place will enhance work quality and efficiency. The trucks are at the job site and ready for unloading. What is the procedure? Is there a documented procedure? Are workers just grabbing things off the trucks and putting them on the ground with no sense of order? Do some workers have some semblance of a system, but the less experienced workers have no clue as to what's happening and what goes where? Are there too many workers loading at one time, causing efficiencies to actually go down? How close can the truck actually get to the job site, and how far are workers going to have to haul heavy, cumbersome components? Without a clear sequence of events, too much time is spent explaining and re-explaining. This chaotic distribution and tiresome, inefficient unloading is hurting your bottom line. To start with, each job is as unique as its location. One job might be in a big field where the truck has close access to the actual setup. This is great because workers will not have to make so many long trips back and forth loading and unloading. Or the job might be in Mrs. Jones' backyard, where more than likely the truck is parked on the street, a distance from the job site. Either way, but especially if the latter is the case, trucks need to be organized so that there is a systemized method of unloading and later loading, and make sure that all the workers know this method. Tip: first things need to be first. The first items needed for setup should be on the back of the truck and easy to get to. The distribution of the pieces should also be predetermined and explained to everyone ahead of time. This will save time and minimize confusion among the workers transferring the heavy and awkward things like the tent tops and stakes. If at all possible, get enough supplies at the site to start a small amount of the crew working immediately. This eliminates workers standing around with nothing to do. Tip: immediately upon arrival, have 2 workers start to mark where the tent goes, where each side pole will be, where each piece of material will have to be placed, and where each stake will be driven. This helps communication and workflow when unloading. As for stakes, consider using bins that are specifically made for holding, storing, and transporting stakes. If you have bins, you can load them with a predetermined number and not have to constantly stop and count or transfer them. This makes for much easier distribution. And one person can take the entire bin around with a tractor, simply dropping the stakes where they need to be driven, as opposed to multiple men making multiple trips back and forth to the truck. Then, when it's time to strike the tent and reload equipment, a predetermined systemized workflow and equipment specifically designed for transferring tents and their components will make the job go exponentially smoother. Long story short, putting together an organized, systemized, and mechanized clear sequence of events will make the process of unloading and reloading much easier for your workers and much more efficient and profitable for your business. Clearly, the most physically demanding, labor-intensive, and time-consuming part of the job is setting up the tents. It's also where the most time and money are wasted. Study the workflow of a job site. It won't take long to figure out that it's not easy to keep the whole crew 100% effective 100% of the time. Once the workflow is thought through, it will become obvious that the entire crew will be needed for only short periods of time over the process. Having the excessive amount of manpower on hand only to accommodate specific aspects of the job that last a short time drives costs through the ceiling. Plus, you're battling setting up on different surfaces, driving stakes through a variety of surfaces on every job, as well as trying to keep up with spot cleaning and hand washing the tents, all of which takes time and wastes time. Plan ahead to get your crews in and out and moving on to the next job safely, efficiently, and with as little fatigue as possible. Remember, work fatigue can be a major problem. Fatigue in the crew accumulates over weeks of time and causes decline in effective, quality work output. Setup requires a lot of manpower. There's no getting around it. But your business can be extremely successful with less manpower, and here's how. First of all, keep your crews small and keep only the best workers employed. Second, consider mechanization. Reducing the number of employees required and setting up mechanized systems will ensure that they stay 100% efficient through the entire job, and that means greater profitability per job. If your business has a powerful, turf-friendly piece of equipment to transport supplies right up to the tent site, as well as help distribute them, jobs will be more efficient, saving time and labor by eliminating repeat trips to the truck, not to mention cutting down on worker fatigue. Moving along in the process, with a pole tent, it's time to raise the center pole. Because it demands considerable manpower, this is often the only time the whole crew is totally productive. Again, if jobs are mechanized, there are options that will help push the pole up with minimal manpower required, making this part of the process safer and much more cost-effective. If erecting other types of tents, similar situations occur that also require the full force of a large work crew. It's important to note that the equipment needs to be able to be operated by everyone on the site. It should require little or no skill or instruction and should allow the operator the ease and convenience of getting on and off easily, as this is what the job demands. Another important point to consider here is that windshield time really adds up. If you employ smaller crews, you're paying fewer people for this wasted time of getting to and from the job site. Next, what kind of surface are you working on with each job? Surface variables greatly affect how each job is handled. For instance, if it's soft dirt or grass, it's going to be much easier than dealing with concrete or asphalt. But if you have power tools specifically designed for driving in and pulling out stakes, again, you'll need fewer workers, and the workers you will need will become less fatigued and more likely to be able to keep up with a constant pace, which, in the busy season, will pay off in greater efficiency, profitability, and improved worker morale. And finally, the cleanliness of your tents. If workers are spending valuable time hand washing and spot cleaning, that too is eating into your bottom line, big time. A quick turnaround is critical to your business. If you mechanize and let technology do the cleaning for you, you will drastically reduce labor costs and save time. What you've just seen is an overview of what we at Teeco Solutions have found to be effective after years of working in and studying the tent rental industry. Our overall findings tell us that if you are able to reduce unproductive time, including windshield time, as well as reduce fatigue, you get ahead of the game and stay there. To sum up, more skilled laborers do a better job. Well-thought-out, predetermined, systematic approaches in workflow increases efficiency both on and off the job site. And those who have mechanized systems, eliminating much of the most strenuous work, can more safely and effectively keep the pace that is demanded during the busiest times. Efficiency through systemization and mechanization is what we're all about at Teeco Solutions. And the only way we can truly keep pace and help our customers grow their businesses is by constantly communicating with them. Talk to us. We are glad to share our expertise, and we want to hear about your business. Contact us at teecosolutions.com. You're just a click away from running a more efficient business and dropping more dollars in your bottom line.